What would you do if the person who caused your dying mother immeasurable pain suddenly showed up, demanding to see her one last time? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My name is Alex, and at 25, my life was unexpectedly thrust into a maelstrom of emotional turmoil. My parents, after 26 years of marriage, were in the agonizing throes of a divorce. The reason? My father, Richard, had fallen for his younger business partner. To compound the betrayal, she had recently given birth to his child. My mother, Sarah, had been a devoted stay-at-home mom for a quarter of a century, meticulously managing our household while Richard pursued his demanding career. The divorce announcement blindsided her. Richard, with a callous disregard for her feelings, told her he would always cherish her as his best friend and the mother of his 5 children, but his heart now belonged to another. This cruel confession shattered my mother, and her once healthy appetite vanished. Then, in the midst of the unraveling divorce, came the devastating news: Sarah was diagnosed with a terminal illness, given only a few months to live. Her children, my siblings and I, became her sole caregivers. I personally took on the responsibility of her appointments, and we collectively bore the financial burden of her treatment, taking out loans to cover the costs. We never once approached Richard for financial assistance, despite his belated offers to cover the expenses. It's crucial to note that legally, at the time of her passing, Sarah was still Richard's wife. As Sarah's final days approached, Richard moved to another city to be present for the birth of his daughter with his new partner. My uncle, in a desperate plea for help, posted on Facebook about my mother's critical condition and her rare blood type, seeking donations. When Richard learned of this, he immediately flew back to our city. He arrived at the hospital looking utterly disheveled, his clothes unkempt, a stark contrast to his usual pristine appearance. He desperately wanted to see Sarah one last time. I met him in the hallway, my voice firm despite the tremor in my hands. "There's no point, Dad," I told him. "She's unconscious," he begged, his voice cracking, tears streaming down his face in front of everyone in the hospital corridor. He pleaded, "Please, Alex, just let me see her one last time." The hospital staff, understanding my legal authority as her power of attorney, allowed our family to decide who could visit. My mother's entire family, including my grandmother and all my siblings, stood united with me in my decision to deny him entry. Despite his pleas, I held my ground. This reveals Richard's greatest fatal flaw, his shocking self-absorption. He believed his grief and desire for closure outweighed the years of pain and devastation he had inflicted upon my mother. He made a foolish decision at that moment, completely unaware that this single act would lead to his complete ostracization from his former family. Sarah passed away the next morning. Even then, Richard lingered, insisting he wanted to attend the funeral and memorial service, but the answer was a resounding no. We banned him from attending. My conviction was absolute: he forfeited the right to witness her pain, especially since he was the architect of her immense suffering. A buddy of mine later suggested that my mother's family and I were being unfair, assholes even, for not allowing Richard that final glimpse. But what Richard failed to grasp, and what my friend failed to see, was the depth of my mother's silent agony. As one insightful comment I later read online put it, he didn't deserve to see her one last time and get closure because he wasn't worried about any of those things when he was cheating on his wife and then living it up with his new family before the divorce was even finalized. He chose his bed and he deserves to sulk in it. To be clear, Richard's business partner was already pregnant when he told my mother he wanted a divorce. I was her legal representative, her power of attorney, and I had the undeniable right to deny visitors. My mother never expressed any desire for him to be there during her final days in the hospice, when she could no longer communicate verbally. In fact, she never mentioned him at all. Another resonant comment echoed our sentiments: he can't have his divorce and be a husband, too. There she was, broken-hearted and dying for months, while he played house with a side piece and a new baby. There's zero reason to allow him to barge in with his grief, disrupting her last hours. I understand that this means the end of my relationship with Richard. My siblings and I have accepted this reality. We have no interest in any future connection with him, his new partner, or their child. We've come to terms with the profound loss of 2 parents forever, in different but equally painful ways. My focus now is to be a steadfast pillar of support for my younger siblings. The story serves as a stark reminder: actions have consequences, and betrayal leaves scars that even death cannot erase. What would you have done in my shoes?